आत्मज प्रभो वयं तु पुरुष व्याघ्र ऐक्ष्वाका क्षत्रबन्धव मुचकुंद इति प्रोक्तो यौवनास्वात्मज प्रभो वयं तु पुरुष व्याघ्र ऐक्ष्वाका क्षत्रबन्धव मुचकुंद इति प्रोक्तो यौवनास्वात्मज प्रभो Word to word meaning vayam, we, tu. On the other hand, purusha, among men, vyagra, or tiger, aikshvaka, descendants of Ikshvaku, Shatra, of Kshatriyas, Bandhava, family members, Muchkunda, Iti, thus, Prokta, called, Yavanasva, of Yavanasva, Mandata, the son of Yavanasva, Atmaja, the son, Prabhu, O Lord. Translation and purport by disciples of His Divine Grace is Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Disciples of Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As for ourselves, O tiger among men, we belong to a family of fallen Kshatriyas, descendants of King Ikshvaku. My name is Muchkunda, my lord, and I am the son of Yavanasva. Purport. It is common in Vedic culture that Kshatriya will humbly introduce himself as Kshatra Bandhu, a mere relative in Kshatriya family, or in others a fallen Kshatriya. In ancient Vedic culture, to claim a particular status on the basis of one's family relationships was itself indicative of a fallen position. Kshatriyas and Brahmanas should be given status according to their merit, by their qualities of work and character. When the caste system in India became degraded, people proudly claimed to be relatives of Kshatriyas or Brahmanas, though in the past such a claim, unaccompanied by the tangible qualification, indicated a fallen position. Omagyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamsha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nidhi Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य आमिने गौरतुषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्ते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So we welcome everybody for today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. I seek blessings of everybody so that I can speak something in glorification of Supreme Lord and in glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam for my own purification. So here we are reading from 10th canto, chapter 51, entitled Deliverance of Muchkunda. We saw how Muchkunda, he was a great king. He was not ordinary person. He was son of Mandata. Mandata was a king of entire planet Earth, and then later on Muchkunda became the next king, and he was ruling entire planet Earth. Not only small tract of land which is today called as India, but entire Earth, which includes Africa, Australia, America, Russia, China, everything. So that was the influence of Muchkunda. And he was so powerful that even king of heavenly planets, Indra, took his help. Srimad Bhagavatam elaborately describes about this universal affairs and universal governments. And it's a book. Whatever human mind is anxious to know, everything is very systematically, scientifically, and beautifully described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Unfortunately, because in today's world, people are not discussing this Vedic literature, especially Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. People are just groping in the dark, in ignorance. People are wondering whether there is life on moon or not, whether life is on Mars or not, whether now. But here we describe there are so many planets and there is life everywhere, and there are universal management, and there is a king Indra who is in charge of universal affairs. And sometimes he is also in trouble. And we see when he was in trouble, he took he took help of Muchkunda. So Muchkunda was so powerful, not only had influence on earthly planet, but he had influence on higher planets also. And Indra from higher planets took his help for defeating his enemies. And we saw how Muchkunda went to higher planets, fought very uh, powerfully, and defeated his Indra's enemies. And meanwhile, Lord Shiva had a son called Kartikeya, and When Kartika was born, Devatas felt great relief, and they thought now we have a able, capable commander-in-chief. So then they said to Muchkunda, so my dear Muchkunda, we are extremely grateful to you. So now you can retire from fighting. He was engaged in fighting for a long time. And time in heavenly planets and time in earthly planets and time in different planets is different. One moment in heavenly planets is 6 months here. So he fought in heavenly planets. By the time here, all his descendants died. All his near and dear ones left the world. So when Devatas said, now my dear Muchkunda, you can go back. But let us tell you that, if you go back, you will not find any of your near and dear ones. Because already they have died and left. Because you have come to heavenly planets. And the time here is moves very slowly. Whereas in earth, time moves very fast. So if you go back, you won't find any one of your near and dear ones. You won't be able to recognize anyone also. And also age has passed. So now the Dwapar Yuga has come. So everything has become shorter. However, we are very pleased with you. If you want any benediction for all the wonderful service you have done, please ask. Muchkunda was thinking, these devatas are now telling him to retire from war and telling him to ask benediction, but he was doubtful. He was thinking, they are telling me now to retire, but again they may again ask for help. Sometimes some person, we ask some help, they say, this is last time we are asking help, but then again they ask, So this Muchkunda was very tired, he wanted to sleep, but he was afraid that Indra and other people will again wake him up and disturb his sleep. He won't be able to properly sleep. So I was thinking what to do, because he was very tired, very exhausted. He wanted a peaceful sleep. So he asked all Indra and all Devatas were there. He asked, my dear Indra and my dear all Devatas, please bless me. Proper sleep, I can sleep peacefully, And if somebody wakes me up, disturbs my sleep, give me power that just by my glancing at him, he can be burned to ashes. He especially asked this boon because he was thinking that Indra may wake him up from the sleep, So Indra was there. So he asked him the benediction so that he will think next time before waking up and he will not wake him up and he can have nice rest. So all devatas, including Indra, gave him blessings. Yes, no problem. You have really helped us and we are very happy and we understand you are very fatigued, so you can take peaceful rest. No problem. So rest actually rejuvenates. One very body needs rest. And Bhakti Charu Maharaj was telling one of the confidential science behind rest. Why when we sleep, we get energized and again we become recuperated in health. So definitely when one takes sleep, especially at night, all internal maintenance of the body takes place. That is definitely there. But another very important point happens when we sleep is that because we sleep, we become unaware of our material external circumstances. When we are awake physically, we are always dealing with matter. And because of dealing with matter, actually dealing with matter is very tiresome activity for a conditioned soul. And generally in wakefulness, when we are dealing with matter, generally we forget Supreme Lord. Generally we forget, we become off, we get disconnected from our real self, soul and Supreme Self, Super Soul, God. Actually, as soul, Atma, and there is Super Soul just besides Atma within our heart. But because of illusory energy, we start thinking, I'm this body, I'm matter, and we start dealing with material energy so much that we completely forget our spiritual existence. And we also completely forget uh, our well-wisher, our best well-wisher, Suradam Sarvabhutanam, the best well-wisher, Supreme Lord, who is there in our heart as Paramatma. More we are materially active, more we lose trust with self, soul, Atma, and Supreme Self, Paramatma. So when material activities reduce, then there is a chance that one can get in touch with self and Supreme Self, Atma. So Bhakti Charumaraj was telling that when one sleep, that is time, because we are disconnected from matter and material interaction. Soul gets opportunity to connect to Supreme Soul, Paramatma. And because of that connection, one gets rejuvenated, one gets energized. Supreme Lord is source of all energy, all joy, all bliss, all enthusiasm. So when we get that touch, immediately we get energized, enthused, and then immediately we become active. So in that sense, uh, because material activities are practically less, so one can connect with Supreme Soul. Anyway, but if we hear Krishna Katha, if we chant Hare Krishna, we can even more actively connect with Supreme Lord. And therefore, when we chant Hare Krishna, one feels very fresh. One hears Krishna Katha, one can feel enlivened. Because when one gets connected to Supreme Lord. So Muchkunda was tired, fatigued, he wanted to take rest. So he got that blessing, and then he went in that gufa, in a forest, in a very isolated place, he took rest. However, he was a great devotee of Lord, and he had done great service to Lord, and he also served these devatas, understanding they are representatives of God, they are doing management on behalf of Lord. So, because he had done also wonderful service to Krishna, he was a great devotee of Krishna. Krishna remembered him. So, especially when we see when both Kalayavana and Jarasan planned to attack Mathura, Krishna made this plan. He immediately created in one night another city, Dwarka. And in night, when everybody was sleeping, he transferred entire Mathura Vasas to Dwarka, just for their protection, because he was thinking now there's going to fight and there should not be any harm to all the residents of Mathura. And after putting them properly at safe place, then Krishna went out of Mathura. And when he left Mathura, he just left without any weapons. And when Kalayavana saw Krishna, he had come with great desire to fight Krishna. He had heard all description of Krishna. And when he saw Krishna coming out, he could analyze and he could understand this is the personality of Krishna. And he was so enthusiastic to fight. But he was so surprised that Krishna has come, but he's not carrying any weapons. And he is in no mood of fighting. So Kalayavana tried to provoke Krishna by speaking very harsh words, challenging Krishna. Oh Krishna, if you have some guts, if you are born in Kshatriya, please stand and fight. He's provoked, but Krishna did not pay any attention. He just walked. Kalayavana is thinking, how dare he is just walk? What kind of Kshatriya is he? He is not ready to fight. And Kalayavana, because he also knew Kshatriya codes, he thought this Krishna is without weapons, so I should also not take weapons. So Krishna, I will fight with Krishna because Krishna doesn't have a weapon, so I will also fight with my just fist. So he thought, let me challenge Krishna to fight with fist. So he tried to challenge Krishna, but Krishna just walked. He was wondering, what is this? Then Kalayavana started chasing Krishna. He was hoping that he will catch Krishna and then fight with him. But Krishna just walked. And Kala was running and running and running. It was just appearing that he is going to touch Krishna. But Krishna was just walking. Krishna is just walking and Kali was running with full speed, Sometimes you see treadmill, people run, no matter how much they run, they are there only. They don't go ahead. Similarly, he was running, running, running. It was happening that he's just going to touch Krishna, but he couldn't touch Krishna. So Acharya has explained, no sinful man can touch Krishna. Krishna is all pure. To touch Krishna, you need to be purified. And because Kali was sinful, no matter how much he endeavored, he couldn't touch Krishna. And nobody can actually touch Krishna unless Krishna sanctions. If Krishna sanctions, Krishna blesses, then you can get touch of Krishna. Like Putna, she was sinful, but Krishna sanctioned, so she could touch Krishna. And Krishna purified her. But Kalyavana, he was not able to touch even Krishna. It is said, yogis, they can fly at the speed of mind. What is speed of mind? In one moment, one is here, one moment he can be in America, another moment he can be on moon, he can be anywhere in one moment. That is speed of mind. But even if one runs at the speed of mind, yogis can do that. They cannot catch Krishna. What to speak of Kalayavana? Kalayavana is getting frustrated. He wanted to fight, he wanted to catch Krishna, but he is not able to catch, and he was thinking he is going to catch, and then he was running and shouting and yelling and scolding, and Krishna was just walking and walking and walking. And Krishna walked and came to this cave where Muchkunda was sleeping. And that cave was dark. When Krishna entered cave, this Kalyavana also ran behind, entered cave. And when he entered cave, he couldn't see Krishna. And he just saw a sleeping man. And he was thinking, what kind of crazy this guy Krishna is. I am challenging him to fight and he's not fighting and he's running away from battlefield and now he's sleeping. What kind of this foolish activity is this? What a coward person is he? Is this time to sleep? I am challenging him to fight and he's sleeping. So thinking that sleeping man to be Krishna, Kalyavana kicked that sleeping man. And when that sleeping man was disturbed, he woke up and he had got the blessings from all devatas that anybody wakes him up, when he glances at him, he will burn that person into ashes. So as Kalyavana glanced at, this Muchkunda woke up, he was very disturbed, very angry. Who disturbed sleep, He already wanted proper rest and he was disturbed in between his sleep, so he was very angry. And then he looked at Kalyavana with angry eyes, and immediately flames came from his eyes and burned Kalyavana to ashes. And then after Kalyavana was burned, immediately Krishna came in front of him. Muchkunda's eyes were so powerful. Can you imagine? Just by glance, he could burn Kalyavana. How powerful his eyes must be. But when Krishna came, he couldn't look at Krishna. It was so glaring, like we can't directly look at sun. If you look at sun, sometime we can look and later on it becomes difficult. So Krishna was so effulgent. Even Muchkunda was not able to look at him. Such a glaring effulgence. And the entire darkness of the cave just went away by the presence of Krishna. And then Muchkunda was wondering, who is this person? Is he some demigod? Is he Indra? Is he Varun? Is he sun god? Is he Surya or Agni? Actually, he knew all these personalities. But there was so much effulgence, he couldn't, maybe he thought these are devatas, maybe they have come, Maybe they have come to wake me up or what, So I was thinking. But then he saw this person's effulgence is much more than this sun god, Agni, Dev and others. Who's this? Then he started thinking, maybe he's Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then he starts asking, my dear Lord, I understand you are some great person, but I am not able to recognize who are you. Maybe you are Supreme Personality of Godhead. So then he started telling about his introduction. He started telling in this today's verse, he says that, oh, tiger among men. He is not knowing who is exactly, but he understands he's a very great person just by looking at his features. And he says, oh, tiger among men, I am Muchkunda, son of Mandhata, Yavanaswa. And actually, I am Shatrabandhu. Kshatriya means a powerful king. Shatrabandhu means he is named Kshatriya. He has the title of Kshatriya, but he has no abilities, qualities of Kshatriya. So Muchkunda was such a powerful Kshatriya. He was an emperor of entire world, and then he was helping Indra and all the others. But when he's introducing himself, he's telling, I am namesake Kshatriya. I am not actually really Kshatriya. I don't have qualities of Kshatriya. I am Shatrabandhu. So this is actually humility of Muchkunda. Every great person actually is very humble person. Those who are small people, they are very proud and puffed up and arrogant. But as one becomes intelligent, realize, knowledgeable, truly great, more they become humble. More one grows in knowledge and realizes more. Actually, purpose of knowledge. Vedich sarvair aham eva vedyo. Purpose of all knowledge is to know Supreme Lord Krishna. So whatever we may be studying, end result should be we should come to point of understanding God. And when we understand God, that is actually culmination of knowledge. Vedanta, end of knowledge, is to know God. If you don't know God, after all the studies, if you don't know God, then we have really not understood that subject. So whatever subject we may teach and learn, I'll go deeper and deeper and deeper. Finally, one can know the basis of all this, source of all this, the purpose of all this, and reason everything is functioning nicely is actually Supreme Lord. People are studying this universe, they're studying physics, mathematics, they're wanting to know how this world is moving. So ultimately, how this world has been created, how this world is being maintained, how this world is going on is because of Supreme Lord Krishna. This world has no existence without Supreme Lord. And this world cannot function without Supreme Lord. So, and that is the most important thing one need to know after studying everything. So, essence of Vedas, Vedich sarvar aham eva vedyo. Essence of Veda is to know Supreme Lord Krishna. And when we know Krishna, we know everything. Sarvam evam vigyatam bhavatu. If we know God, then we know everything. And if you don't know God, then actually you are not knowing anything. So God is the greatest person, Supreme Lord. He is having unlimited qualities. Jai Shri Shri Nitai Gauranga Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So Lord is having all wonderful qualities. Living it is Anu, very insignificant, and God is Vibhu, infinite. We are infinitesimal, God is infinite. We have little qualities, God has unlimited qualities. So more one knows God and more one comes close to God, more one feels oneself small. More one knows God, more one knows Krishna, and more one comes closer to Krishna, closer to God, more one feels very small. Imagine we are far away from mountain and we take a selfie with mountain in background. What happens? Mountain appears very small and we appear very big, isn't it? You take a selfie, mountain in background, but mountain is very far. We may appear very big and mountain appears very small. Now you go close to mountain, maybe just at foothills of mountain and try to take selfie. What will happen? Mountain will appear so huge and will appear very small. So closer we are to the mountain, bigger we can feel the presence of mountain, and smaller we'll feel our presence. So farther we are from mountain, bigger we think we are, and closer we go to the mountain, we realize our smallness. Similarly, farther we are from God, we think I'm very great. Closer we go to God, we realize our insignificance. So therefore, great people, those who are greatly realized in knowledge, they are very humble. And neophyte people, hmm, they are actually uh, puffed up. So humility is beginning of knowledge. When we realize our smallness, when we realize our deficiencies, when we realize our uh, shortcomings, uh, that gives rise to humility, and then from there actually one can that can inspire one to approach superior person who can enlighten us, and by which we can mm, grow further in life. So humility is beginning of knowledge, and it's also beginning of spiritual life. A person is puffed up and proud, then he can't get further knowledge, and that sign that he's ignorant and far away from the reality, far away from God. But when one becomes humble, he especially understands his own shortcomings and his own insignificance, then he can surrender to a superior person. We see, we go in the empty fields and look at the sky, we can see sky is so huge, we are so insignificant. We go near the mountain, we can see mountain is so huge, we are so insignificant. Go near the ocean, we can see ocean so huge, we are so insignificant. We come close to nature or close to, we can find our insignificance, and that can make us humble, and that can help us to take shelter of superior person. We see Arjuna in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. He was speaking many big words, but then he got bewildered, confused, and then he humbled himself in front of Supreme Lord Krishna, and then Krishna enlightened him. Then he got the message of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Similarly, we see Parikshit. He was a great king, and when he was cursed, because he was very humble, he felt that he deserved that curse. He did not think, oh, why this bad things happening to good people like me? Maybe there is injustice, something. Maybe I should take action. He didn't feel like. He felt that I deserve worst, and immediately humbly accepted the curse, and then he took shelter of all the sages on the banks of Ganga, and especially he took shelter of Sukdev Goswami, and then humbly inquired from Sukdev Goswami, my dear Sukdev Goswami, please tell me, I'm going to die within 7 days, and I need to fulfill the mission of human life. Please tell me, what is duty of human life? What is most important duty in human life? And especially, what is duty of dying man? I'm going to die within 7 days. Is this important question for all of us? So all those who consider themselves to be humans, this is very important. What is duty of human beings? So he's not asking what is duty of Indians or what is duty of Hindus. He's asking question, what is duty of all human beings? Indians, Americans, Europeans, Australians, Chinese, Russians, Africans, Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, Isais, whatever. Doctors, engineers, lawyers, farmers, bankers, everybody. Men, women, children, everybody. So what is duty of human being? And especially what is duty of a dying man? I'm going to die within 7 days. In one sense, all of us are going to die within 7 days only. Either Sunday or Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or Friday or Saturday. You have to die in one of the 7 days only. So then, Sukdev Goswami, intelligent people, they come to the point immediately. Those who know the point, they can tell the point immediately. Those who don't know, they keep on, beating around the bush without coming to the point. So Sukdev Goswami immediately said that duty of human life and duty of all human beings is to hear about Supreme Lord Krishna, to glorify Supreme Lord Krishna, to remember Supreme Lord Krishna. And one has to do this practice of hearing, glorifying, chanting, remembering, and then finally, Ante Narayana Smriti. And finally, so one has to practice of hearing, chanting, remembering, so that finally, at the time of death, we can remember Supreme Lord. And when we can remember Supreme Lord at time of death, then we can achieve Supreme Lord. We can achieve Kingdom of God, and thus become free from cycle of birth, old, death, disease. We can free from all material miseries. We can free from Adhyatmik, Bhautik, Adidaivic kleshas, suffering because of this body and mind, suffering because of other living entities, and suffering because of natural calamities. We can be free from all sufferings, and we can achieve Sat, Chit, and Ananda state. We can achieve life which is eternal, life which is full of knowledge, and life which is full of happiness, which all of us are hankering for. So Sukadeva Goswami explained that this is duty of every human being, and especially this is the duty of person who is going to die. So this human form life is meant to understand God, meant to know about God, hear about God, glorify God, chant God's holy names, and remember God. And that is way to become happy. That is way to become free from all sufferings. Just by doing so-called scientific research and so-called technological development disconnected from God is not going to help us. That will just dukha aushadam tadapi dukkham. That can give us, that can solve one problem and create bigger problem and create bigger miseries. So no matter whoever he is, no matter how great he is, if he doesn't remember Supreme Lord and know God, take shelter of God, finally he'll be defeated by this material energy, Maya. And finally, again he has to take birth again in the cycle and get caught up in the cycle of birth and death. But anybody who takes shelter of Krishna, by remembering Krishna, chanting his holy names, then he can be freed from this Maya, freed from this cycle of birth and death, and achieve Kingdom of God. So we see how Parikshit Maharaj heard this Srimad Bhagavatam. It is said that Bhagavatam was spoken from Bhadrapad Ashtami to Bhadra Purnima. Bhadrapad Purnima. Bhadra Ashtami is also actually Radha Ashtami, which is just going to come. So that was the first day of Bhagavatam talk. And 7 days, Ashtami, Navami, Dashmi, Ekadashi, till Purnima. Purnima was the 7th day of Bhagavatam. And Bhadra Purnima, last day, Bhagavatam recitation got complete, 7th day. And that is time then Parikshit Maharaj withdrew his consciousness from everything material, focused on Krishna, and went back to the kingdom of God. And after he went back to kingdom of God, that Takshaka bird came, snake bird, and bit him, his body. And his body was set ablaze. But before Takshaka could kill him, he actually went back to God. So that is the day of Bhadra Purnima, which is just going to come on 10th of September 2022. So 4th September is Radha Ashtami, 10th September is Bhadra Purnima. From 4th September to 10th, so that is exact tithi when this Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, in Bhadra Purnima day itself, Sutta Goswami explains. Sutta Goswami is explaining the glories of Bhadra Purnima. I will just read that verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. In 12th canto, 12th chapter, Sutta Goswami summarizes the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. And in 13th chapter, again he starts speaking glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. So I will just read some glories of Srimad Bhagavatam and then importance of this Bhadra Purnima. So it said, all other Puranic scriptures shine forth in the assembly of saintly devotees only as long as that great ocean of nectar, Srimad Bhagavatam, is not heard. All other knowledge appears very attractive till one hears Srimad Bhagavatam. As soon as one hears Srimad Bhagavatam, one loses attraction for everything. Like till sun doesn't rise, all little candles may appear very full of light and very attractive. Stars may appear very glittering, very shining. But when sun rises, we can't see any stars. No? Similarly, till one has not heard Srimad Bhagavatam, all other knowledge may appear very attractive, very this thing. But once one hears Srimad Bhagavatam, one understands, oh, amazing, then all other knowledge appears very pale and dim in front of knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is declared to be the essence of all Vedanta philosophy. One who has felt satisfaction from its nectar and mellow will never be attracted to any other literature. Once one hears Srimad Bhagavatam, he won't get taste in anything else. When one gets higher taste, he loses all lower taste. Everybody can recite this verse after me. Nimnagana nam yatha ganga Devanam achuto yatha Vaishnavanam yatha shambhu Purananam idam tatha. Just as the Mother Ganga is the greatest of all the rivers, just as Lord Achyuta is the supreme among all deities, and just as Lord Shambhu, Shiva, is the greatest of all Vaishnavas, so Srimad Bhagavatam is greatest of all Puranas. So Srimad Bhagavatam is best of the Puranas. Srimad Bhagavatam is the costless Puranas. It is the most dear to Vaishnavas because it is describes the pure and supreme knowledge of Paramhamsas. This Bhagavatam reveals the means for becoming free from all material world, together with process and of transcendent knowledge, renunciation, and devotion. Anyone who seriously tries to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, who properly hears and chants it with devotion, becomes completely liberated, becomes completely free from all miseries, and goes back home, back to God. So this is the glories of actually Srimad Bhagavatam. And this Sudha Goswami explains, Praushtapadyam Pauramasyam Hemasimha Samanvitam Dadati Yo Bhagavatam Sayati Paramam Gatim. It is said, Sudha Goswami says, if on full moon day of the month of Bhadra, one places Srimad Bhagavatam on a golden throne and gives it as a gift, he will attain the supreme transcendent destination. So we see Srila Prabhupada, whole life he was trying to execute the instruction of his spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur instructed Prabhupada when he was 26 years old that you are a young man, you are an educated man. Why don't you take this message of Lord and spread it in English language all over the world? And Prabhupada was trying. After he got that message, got that instruction, he took that instruction to his heart and whole life he worked. Then in 1944, he started Back to Godhead magazine. He was trying to write, print this magazine, distribute, and through that preach. Later on, he accepted Vanaprastha ashram. Then he stayed in Vrindavan. Later on, he took sannyas. And while he was staying in Vrindavan, he took up this huge project of translating entire Srimad Bhagavatam into English. Because his spiritual master had told that he should spread this message of God in English language. So he was thinking this Bhagavatam is in Sanskrit. And how will people in the West understand? So let me translate into English. So he started translating this entire Srimad Bhagavatam into English. And then he translated first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And he published first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam in 3 volumes. As soon as this first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam was published in 3 volumes, immediately felt confident. Yes, now I am ready to go to West and present the message of God. And then we see on 13th of August 1965, he boarded Jalduta from Calcutta. And then he also took along with him his most precious what do you say? His luggage or whatever belonging which he was carrying with him was Srimad Bhagavatam. Rather, he was thinking that Srimad Bhagavatam is going to America and I am going as his servant. So Srila Prabhupada had faith in that Srimad Bhagavatam, that if Srimad Bhagavatam goes to America and people hear this Srimad Bhagavatam, immediately their dark hearts will be enlightened and then they will be free from miseries. So he didn't feel himself qualified. He didn't think that I can make a difference, but he thought and he had that faith that this Srimad Bhagavatam can make a difference. And he had faith in holy names. Bhagavatam also ends with holy name. Bhagavatam says that how Supreme Lord and his Sankirtan, chanting holy, can bring all auspiciousness to everybody. But to chant Hare Krishna and to chant holy names of Lord, one has to hear about God. And that is given in Srimad Bhagavatam. Chanting is topmost activity. Prabhupada mentions to the purport of second 2.46 Bhagavad Gita that topmost Vedantist is one who relishes the chanting of the holy names of Lord. But to become topmost Vedantist, one has to understand Bhagavatam. When one understands Bhagavatam, one can become topmost Vedantist. And when one becomes topmost Vedantist, then one can, with one point of attention, one can chant holy names. Otherwise, one is distracted. Mind thinks maybe there is something else better. Because we are not yet convinced that this holy name is the topmost. No, for that we need to convince our intelligence is to be convinced. When intelligence is convinced, then with intelligence we can control mind and focus mind on the holy names. So topmost Vedantist is one who relishes the chanting of the holy names of God. And to be a topmost Vedantist, one should understand Bhagavatam, hear Bhagavatam, read Bhagavatam. And by hearing Bhagavatam, we can be purified and we can be convinced about eternal truths. So Srila Prabhupada was actually convinced and he had that faith in Bhagavatam and he had that faith in holy names. And that's how he could very successfully preach and establish temples and make practically thousands and lakhs of people devotees of Krishna from different walks of life, from different parts of the world. So Prabhupada, another instruction Prabhupada received from his spiritual master was that if you ever get money, distribute books. So we see Srila Prabhupada, he took these two instructions, present this message of Supreme Lord in Western world in English language, and for that he established ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And then he established 108 temples within his manifest Leela, and his sincere disciples and followers are carrying forward now that mission. And now we have ISKCON has more than 1,000 temples and practically lakhs of centers, small centers, lakhs of devotees. And Prabhupada got another instruction then that if you ever get money, please print books and distribute them. And Prabhupada started BBT, Bhaktivedanta Book Trust. And we see Prabhupada himself translated, himself printed, himself took a lot of efforts, himself got some donation, himself went for book distribution. And then he inspired everybody else to distribute books. And since then, BBT has become #1 spiritual publishers to distribute spiritual literatures in the maximum quantity. And during Prabhupada times, Prabhupada devotees also started this celebration of this special festival called Bhadra Purnima. There are two festivals. One is Gita Jayanti, Gita that comes in December, Mokshada Ekadashi, when Bhagavad Gita was spoken. Bhagavata began same day, finished same day. It was just 1 hour, 45 minutes or 1 hour of this conversation. So, Mokshada Ekadashi is considered as the appearance day of Bhagavad Gita. And that day, devotees around the world distribute Bhagavad Gita profusely. And now we see crores and crores of Bhagavad Gita are distributed. And on the day of Bhadra Purnima, devotees celebrate distribution of Srimad Bhagavatam. And since then, lakhs of Bhagavatam sets have been distributed. We see in between this culture of distributing Bhagavatam sets on Bhadra Purnima was lost. But again, it was revived a few years back. And I remember 4 or 5 years back, in one day, 2000 Bhagavatam sets were distributed. Then another 4000. Last year, I think more than 4000 Bhagavatam sets. No, how many? 22,000. More than 22. Now, this year, there is a target of distributing 45,000 Bhagavatam sets on this day of Bhadra Purnima. So anybody gives this Bhagavatam as a gift to somebody else on this particular day, here Bhagavatam says that he will attain the supreme transcendental destination. He'll go back, come back to God. So this is a very great impetus for devotees to gift Bhagavatam to others. Generally, any sincere person, anything one receives which is very precious, very valuable, you want to share with others. If you like some sweet, we taste, oh, very nice. Immediately we think of our near and dear ones. Maybe I should give it to him or her. Anything we like, we want to give it to others, especially to our near and dear ones. So the topmost literature and topmost book actually is Srimad Bhagavatam. And unfortunately, most of the people in this world don't know about it. Unfortunately, people are suffering terribly in want of knowledge. And this book, Srimad Bhagavatam, is actually incarnation of Supreme Lord in the age of Kali. Sutta Goswami was asked that, my dear Sutta Goswami, now Krishna has departed, he has gone back to Godhead. So how the people in age of Kali will get direction, will get guidance? How they will get knowledge in the dark age of Kali? So Sutta Goswami said, Srimad, that though Supreme Lord Krishna went back to God, he has again appeared in transcendental form of his literature of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is not ordinary book, is actually incarnation of God. Grantha Avatar. There are different incarnations of God. God appears in different forms. God appears in animal form, bird's form, beast form, different forms, human form. There are waves of, how many waves are there in ocean? Unlimited. Like that, there are number of incarnations of Lord. But there is a very special incarnation. These two incarnations are very special. Sound incarnation of Lord is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Is sound incarnation of Lord. God is appearing form of sound. And this sound can actually deliver everybody from these clutches of material existence. And then there is a Grantha Avatar, book incarnation. There are so many books, but this book is special because this is not ordinary book. This is incarnation of God. And it is said in the age of Kali, this book will give light to whole world. Whatever doubts, whatever questions, whatever queries, whatever curiosity one has, if one reads this book, he can get his doubts completely clarified, his curiosity is answered. And not only that, this book, just by reading, can give greatest pleasure, satisfaction. One proper disciple, Kunti Mataji, when she got some terminal sickness, especially when devotees get some problem, actually they take shelter of Krishna. So she started reading Bhagavatam. And when she was reading Bhagavatam, she started relishing so much. She felt herself like Parikshit Maharaj hearing from Sukadeva Goswami. And she became so fearless, like Parikshit Maharaj became fearless. He was not afraid of death. And then he went back to her. Similarly, Kunti Mataji, disciple of Srila Prabhupada, just by hearing Bhagavatam in final days, she became so fearless, so enthusiastic, so blissful. She started so much preaching and then very happily went back to Godhead. So we see nowadays in Kali Yuga, so many diseases, untimely deaths happen. And people become so frightened and all that. But they don't have this Bhagavatam. If they have this Bhagavatam and they read, actually they can be free from all miseries, they can be free from all fear, and especially they can transcend death. They can conquer death. So this is actually a very special gift which we can give. And here especially once a year, especially on this day of Bhadra Purnima, it is said, if anybody gives this gift to others, he receives greatest blessings of Krishna, and he will attain the supreme transcendent destination of going back and back to Godhead. And especially anybody who receives this gift and take benefit of that gift by studying, he will also go back and back to Godhead. So we see people generally are they want to do something good for others, but they don't know what is the best thing to do. So best thing actually to do is to give knowledge to others. And the best way to give knowledge to give this book. So on Bhadra Purnima, we can inspire and encourage others to give this Bhagavatam as a gift. And the Bhagavatam cost is not very high also. It's very cheap. If you want to purchase, I remember when I was studying in engineering, one book so costly, thousands of rupees, one book, And if you want to buy encyclopedia, it can go in lakhs of rupees, But this Bhagavatam, which is the encyclopedia of entire Vedic text, which is which comes in 18 big volumes, it's like lifetime treasure. It's just a few thousand rupees. It won't be even half the salary or 1/10 of the salary of many of the people today. Nowadays people earn lakhs of rupees salary. Even those who pass out, we see that those who are passing out from IIT and all, they get so many lakhs of salary. So this is very cheap, but price is less, but value is very high. It's a lifetime gift, and when Bhagavatam comes home, it's like home becomes a temple. So Prabhupada was convinced that greatest gift he can give to the whole world is this Bhagavatam. Though he was very old, he had so many health diseases, though he had no money, he struggled very hard to go with this Bhagavatam and distribute Bhagavatam. And if we distribute this Bhagavatam, definitely Prabhupada will be also very pleased, and Krishna will be pleased. And those who receive this gift, their life will be transformed. So this is my humble request on behalf of our Sampradaya, that we can distribute the greatest treasure which we have, Srimad Bhagavatam, to others. Give them as a gift. And those people who will receive this gift from you, they will feel very indebted. And they will never forget you whole life. Sometimes we see some people come to Krishna consciousness, later on they feel so grateful. We see even somebody does some material good, people feel grateful. What to speak of doing this greatest good and delivering them from clutches of material existence. So this is my humble request to as many devotees as possible, that we have received greatest gift of Srimad Bhagavatam. Daily we study Bhagavatam, daily we release Bhagavatam, daily we are diving in this nectar of Bhagavatam. We should also share this with others, and especially by gifting this Bhagavatam on Bhadra Purnima. And definitely we should see that every devotee has Bhagavatam at his home. Prabhupada said every gentleman and woman of this world should have Bhagavatam set at his home. How many of you have Bhagavatam with you? Your personal Bhagavatam set? Raise hands. Okay. Many of you have. Maybe 30-40% of you have Bhagavatam. How many of you do not have Bhagavatams with you, personal set? Raise hand. You can look around. How many of don't have Bhagavatam? Raise hands. Like this, raise hands. Okay. How many don't have Bhagavatam? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At least 5 people. And some people, I think, are feeling shy to raise hand that they don't have Bhagavatam. They may have Bhagavatam in their own hearts. But at least 4 or 5 people are honest or humble enough to tell that they don't have Bhagavatam. So you see, this devotees don't have Bhagavatam. So we have opportunity to give them Bhagavatam. Here it is said that the one who gives gift of Bhagavatam, they will be blessed, and those who receive also will be blessed. Okay. So I just wanted to ask, I just saw a few devotees not having Bhagavatam. Once again, you can raise those who don't have Bhagavatam. They're just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those who don't have Bhagavatam set, I'm asking, entire set. Okay. So, okay. And those who have Bhagavatam, raise hand. Okay. Okay. Many have Bhagavatam. Few don't have Bhagavatam. Okay. So, why these devotees should be unfortunate not have Bhagavatam? How many of you think they should also have Bhagavatam? Hmm? So, I just wanted to check. Is there anyone here who would like to sponsor some Bhagavatam for them on Bhadra Purnima day? Okay. Some of your friends, they are your friends. Anybody want to give? I'm just no force, but no. Anybody want to give them Bhagavatam as gift? Hmm? You, our Chandrasekhar, who is always magnanimous-hearted, he can't tolerate others suffering. If they don't have anything, he wants to give. So Chandrasekhar, who wants to give Bhagavatam set. Okay. So what we'll do on Bhadra Purnima, you can give. Okay. Raise hands who don't have Bhagavatam. One devotee you can tell, we'll then give to him among them. You want to tell name? So we'll give that day. Okay, Chandrasekhar will give Bhagavatam set to Suraj Prabhu. Haribo. Jai. On Bhadra Purnima day. Okay. So, Suraj Prabhu, how you are feeling now? Oh, so you are thinking why I didn't have Bhagavatam before? I should have before. But anyway, I didn't have Bhagavatam. Now Chandrasekhar is giving Bhagavatam, and you are feeling blessed, isn't it? You are feeling happy. So anybody who receives Bhagavatam, he feels blessed. He feels very happy. This is a very wonderful way to make people, devotees happy. Everybody, we want to develop nice relationship. We want to make others happy. This is the best way, easiest way to make people happy. And how you are feeling? You are feeling miserable? You are feeling happy. Actually, one who gives, becomes even more happier. To receive, there is happiness. But to give is actually million times more happiness. Anybody receives prasad, he tastes, there is happiness. But one who serves prasad, gives prasad, he becomes more happy. So, in receiving there is happiness, but in giving there is even more happiness. So this actually, in giving and receiving, everybody becomes happy. And it's not very difficult. So we see there is a great need of knowledge, right knowledge. And Prabhupada has worked so hard day and night. He sacrificed night sleep. Prabhupada used to sleep 10 o'clock, get up 12 o'clock, only 2 hours. And whole night he used to write Bhagavad so that people of this world will benefit it. So Prabhupada did so much efforts to help people, to enlighten people. We can at least do this much. Even if you don't have money, we can ask somebody, Prabhu, would you like to give a gift? I don't have money. But I ask, and he is ready to give to him. So both are benefited. I am also happy, So you just need to talk about it. You don't need money to distribute Bhagavatam. You just need that conviction that, oh, Prabhupada did so much to give this Bhagavatam. And people are suffering in lack of knowledge. People going to school, college, university, spending lakhs and crores of rupees. But actually they are not getting knowledge. The so-called knowledge in school, college, university, technically is called as avidya. Because it increases sufferings, it increases illusions, and it binds person from in cycle of death of binds person in cycle of birth and death. But Bhagavad Srimad Bhagavatam is called as Vidya. Vidya means to know matter, to know spirit, soul, Atma, and supreme spirit soul, Paramatma. And when we know all these three things properly, that is actually Vidya, and that is what can make person happy. That is what one can make person fearless. And also can this is what can end the miserable cycle of birth and death and take one back home, back to Godhead. We see many school, colleges, they write Tamsoma Jyotirgamay. Don't remain darkness, come to light. But they don't know what is light. And what they distribute in school, college, university is darkness only. They are in dark and they become even go in deeper mode of darkness. But this Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, these are actually books of Vidya. This is actually Tamsoma Jyotirgamaya. So all of the world actually in darkness. There may be universities, Oxford University, Cambridge University, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, what different institutes are there, and they may charge crores of rupees. Now I see some devotees are going to America for higher studies. Practically, they're spending crores of rupees, but what they get is darkness. This is just few thousand rupees, and what you get is actually knowledge. And by getting knowledge, you can be happy. You can become fearless. Sometimes people ask us, my dear Prabhu, you are engineer and you are working in software company. Now you are not working, you are staying in temple, you don't have bank account. Don't you feel fearful? Don't you feel what will happen to you in future? Actually, that fear is sign of ignorance. That is sign of avidya. When people are educated only in science, technology, this devoid of science of God, that is what increases fear. But more we hear about God, know about God, come closer to God, more we can become fearless. So this knowledge is actually the greatest need of the world, and we have opportunity to distribute that. Imagine last some years that coronavirus has been there. So many people have been dying, and when antivirus or what is that called? Vaccine came. So government saying everybody should have it. And we'll distribute free, but have it, so that your life will be spared. Similarly, actually, everybody is suffering by this pandemic of ignorance. And this is actually vaccine, can save people. And ideally, we should distribute it free to everybody. So those who can afford to distribute gift free, actually we can save as many people. Government of India, they gave how many vaccination? How many vaccination they did? 150 crore, 200 crore vaccinations, to save the people of India. But do you think they will be saved? Finally, they will die after all vaccination also. But this is actually, if they can distribute 200 vaccine shots, 200 crore, we should also distribute that. And this is for all world actually, not only for India. If they get one set, their life will be spared. So this is my humble request on occasion of Bhadra Purnima, that this is the week of this Bhagavatam. So think about it, reflect on it, and all those who can afford to give someone gift, your near and dear one, maybe your mother, father, brother, sister, friend, anybody, try to give this gift on this occasion of Bhadra Purnima. If you have, wonderful, you share it with others. And those who don't have, please make sure your friends have. So, just last concluding thing, I have one question. How many of you think that it's a good idea to distribute this Bhagavatam on occasion of Bhadra Purnima? Okay. So please try. And I said, you don't need money to distribute, you need desire. If you have desire, Krishna will help. And try to give your near and dear ones, whomever you feel a very important person to, give this Bhagavatam set on this occasion of Bhadra Purnima. Thank you very much. Bhadra Purnima ki jai. Here we are seeing this today. Muchkunda is in front of Supreme Lord and is introducing himself. That is the etiquette. When we are in front of superior person, we can't just ask superior person, who are you? First we have to tell, I am so and so, my dear sir, may I know who are you? So we see Muchkunda is also, he understood the person who is in front of him is very superior. And then immediately said, I am a Shatra Bandhava. I am just a friend of Kshatriya. I am not Kshatriya. I am not very qualified, But I have coming in this family of great Kshatriyas. My father was Mandata. So my dear sir, may I know who are you? So he asked Krishna, and then later on we see how Krishna introduced himself, and then Muchkunda feels extremely blessed to come in face and face with Supreme Lord Krishna. So thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari.